everyone. Welcome to the Law of Attraction Roundtable. I'm your host, Gary Temple-Bodley. Today, we're with Kimberley Leet. Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
Good, thanks. Hi, everyone. Hi, Gary.
And we're going to talk about all the different things that you can do, like meditation or guided hypnosis or tapping or Reiki or all these different things. And what do those things really do? I started meditating about 6 years ago. And, I was always sort of resistant to it. And then I just started using the Abraham meditations. And at first it was really hard because I couldn't stop any thoughts, and the thoughts were just flowing through like crazy. But the first day I might have done 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something. And those things are 15 or 20 minutes, I guess. And, within a week I was doing the whole thing all the way through. And that's when Joshua came. And so many things happen when people start meditating. How long have you been meditating? A long time?
Yes, in different forms. To be honest, I don't remember when I started. However, for me, it was probably more around 2008 when I first was attuned to Reiki. So I'm aligned to the original 7-level system of Reiki. So I haven't done all the levels in my system. There's 7 practitioner levels. I'm at 5A. So yeah, 2008 I first started. So with that, you could do a lot of self Reiki, so I use that as a form of meditation. So I would meditate with that. So probably that's where I predominantly started doing that. Of course, I probably did mindfulness before that, but that was when I probably did the intention of meditation.
Yeah.
And of course, throughout the years, I would go, in and out of practicing, routinely, as sometimes we all do. But, of course, the last several years, it's been more, more of a daily thing and more of an intentional practice.
Yeah. It's amazing, and it wasn't until this year that I realized that the goal of meditation isn't really to stop thought. It's to connect to source consciousness rather than fear consciousness. Mm-hmm. And when you pay attention to the thoughts and realize you're just a witness to those thoughts, they're not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not manufactured in your brain. They're attracted just like everything else is attracted based on your vibration, and you're receiving thoughts or transmitting thoughts. And so you can let them come in, and then you can notice what they are, and then let them go out. And I could probably stop thought now for like 5 seconds or something. But then I get hooked up into the source consciousness, and then I get all this inspiration coming in. And I just play with that. And I really think that's the key, because once that high level thought starts flowing in, then it's something you can play with and think about, and you don't have to push it away. I was pushing away all these wonderful thoughts too, thinking, no, gotta have no thought. But now I've changed it up. So now I'm like really getting a lot of inspiration during meditation.
You do, and the more you practice it, you will get more inspiration, more guidance. But of course, as well, part of this journey is the releasement of old programming. So as you do meditation, especially what's happening now with these big energy shifts, is that the beings of the light call this a purge. So unwanted limiting program is no longer needed, comes to the surface, but you still have to witness it. You still have to address it and let it go. This could be anything from annoyances, like maybe something you didn't realize before was in your subconscious, but when you're in meditation, these annoyances come into your awareness and little, negative emotions and thoughts. And this is something linked to old programming, but it's actually there for you to transmute it into love. If you just recognize it, see what the limiting belief is behind that. So process it in a meditation. And you'll find, it can be very challenging when it's very intense. When you do this in meditation, you feel like, stuff this meditation, I've had enough of this, I'm not feeling good. But if you keep going, that you'll find that go away because you're addressing it. And then you'll start to feel, your vibrational will start to increase and you'll feel better. So it's a process. And that's why a lot of people, give up when they first start doing meditation because of this. It's actually for you. And if it's only, a short-term thing, these negative emotions, and then the more practice you do, the less of this old programming will come into your awareness.
Yeah. Joshua has channeled I think, 10 meditations now that Kyla has read, and they're fantastic. And they're all on Amazon Music and Spotify and things like that. Also, we've just started uploading to Insight Timer. Have you ever seen Insight Timer?
I have actually. I've uploaded a few Beings of the Light meditations myself, so I've got a couple I need to upload. Yeah, so it's very good. So with me, when I do meditations, one of the modalities that comes through me is sacred sound alchemy. So it's a little bit unusual. I discovered this a couple years ago, and I was guided to basically vocalize this sound. I'm like, okay, it's a bit weird, but hey, let's go with it. And I realized that what happens is that it intensely increased my vibration. And it was like, for me, it was more intense than Reiki. And I could see colors and I was getting all this guidance. And it was like, okay, this is something. So I've developed it and I've incorporated in sacred sound meditations. I've done a few. You'll find them on YouTube. And also Insight Timer. There's a few there. And yeah, I'm starting to do group ones actually from today for Patreon. That's very exciting. But
cool.
Yeah, so that's my own little unique version of channeled meditation.
Have you ever been hypnotized?
Hypnotized. I have been very briefly. This is when I did my counselling degree so many years ago, and one of the teachers were hypnotizing us just for exercise. But to be honest, that's it. Yeah. I mean, we all get kind of hypnotized in different ways, I suppose, but this was intentional hypnotized.
Yeah, like I was on the, when Joshua was coming through in the early days, it was all just writing and not speaking. And I never thought that Joshua would come through and speaking. And then Jules Johnson from Law of Attraction Radio Network, we're on a Law of Attraction cruise. And I'm one of the speakers there with Pam Grout and a whole bunch of other speakers. And she says, I'm gonna hypnotize you and have Joshua speak through you. I go, okay, I'll try it. So we go into her cabin and she lays me down and starts hypnotizing me, and then had a bunch of questions that people had asked for Joshua and started reading the questions, and Joshua just came right through. And so for the next couple of days she did it again. And then when I went home, she would do it through Skype. And those were the very early days of it all coming through. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. Actually, it was a very exciting time in Joshua community. And for me, it was with Reiki. So that allowed me to first channel the Beings of the Light.
Oh, really? During Reiki? Oh.
Doing Reiki on myself, and that helped raise my frequency. And just little exercises of writing down, random sentences, be in silence and just wrote down whatever I came. And for me, it came on very quick, but of course it was never quick. It was, all my life's been leading up to it, of course.
Right.
And then I did a particular Reiki session, and all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I see Archangel Michael sitting in front of me. Okay. So it was kind of a bit full on at first. But yeah, it's all grounded a bit more now. So but everyone has different ways of getting in touch. So, hypnotism, Reiki, whatever, it's a form of going inwards. But meditation is, there are so many types of meditation, but basically it's just going inwards, focusing internally and trying to block out the external and, focus on your breath, silence the mind if you can, but notice your thoughts. So it's basically underlining every modality anyway.
Have you ever done tapping?
I have not done tapping.
There's a ton of tappers in the Joshua community. Mark Shahada is the most famous one. And he comes to a lot of the Joshua events and does tapping there and explains it. He's a master tapper. Faster EFT tapping. And what's that?
I said I'm familiar with the technique, but I haven't actually done it or experienced it.
We make fun of him. He has we actually got him to make a t-shirt that says, "I'll tap that shit out."
Yeah, I heard that. That's good marketing right there.
Yeah, he wore it to one of his conventions. It was funny. So there's tapping, and then Isabel Zimmerman, one of my friends, and there's a few of these people who do QHHT, and they're hypnotizing you to go to past life regressions. And I had that done. And my past life, I was an Indian chief somewhere in America 300 years ago. And I'm back on a horse, and I have the big headdress on, and I can see my whole little Indian village there with the teepees. And it was just amazing, the feeling of this. And you could see the warriors and the hunters and the squaws and the kids running around, and everyone had their role, and they all were there was a medicine man. They were all born for their role. They understood that they chose this role, and everyone was totally equal in the tribe. And the chief wasn't superior to the squaw or the children or the hunters or whatever. Everyone was equal. And it was like this unbelievable feeling of pride looking at your village. Yeah, it was cool.
Can you imagine what experience that would be? Wonderful.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of different things. So this question from Jojo today is, can you talk about the similarities and differences of our experience and how it has an effect on us when doing meditation versus listening to guided hypnosis versus tapping? Love, Jojo. So we have Horus, who answered for the beings of the light. And let's go into Horus's answer.
All right. D1. You are a frequency being, a being that consists of vibrating energies that resonate with different vibrations of sound and light. Sound and light is the foundation of energy. And the manifested formats in your illusion of activating tools such as meditation and other modalities in your reality. You resonate with certain tools because it carries a certain vibration signature that is aligned to your unique frequency and can be used as a key to unlock more of the remembering of oneness, more of the remembering of wholeness, and more of the remembering of who you truly are beyond the illusion.
And meditation absolutely unlocked the key for me.
Mm-hmm. All right. If you are drawn to different modalities and these resonate for you, then these modalities are for you. If you do not resonate with them, then they are not required for your remembering. You may choose to play with varying modalities that do not resonate with you. It will still be of benefit for you as you receive the guidance in some form to experience it in action. When you engage in Ascension modalities that do resonate, they activate parts of your energy structure, allowing you to more consciously connect to your divine being state, to the you that exists beyond the illusion, to you as source manifested. These energy activations can have varying felt effects in the physical form, depending on what activations are required, depending on what human limiting conditioned energy forms you have attached to your human experiencing here. Therefore, everyone will experience the effects differently, for it's all unique to you.
And this is the basis we really have to understand, that we're all so unique that there literally could be 7 billion different modalities, because nothing is going to work for everyone. We're all going to resonate with things more or less. I actually had Reiki. I went to Reiki once a week for probably 3 months, and at the end said, no, this isn't doing anything for me. But possibly it was unlocking or getting me in the vibration of Joshua back then, it was part of that journey for it. And I was thinking, this is supposed to fix something, and nothing's supposed to fix anything. It's supposed to just allow you to raise your own vibration,
Yeah. But I really like this, that, how it activates parts of any structure, and it's basically what resonates for us. So, like you said, like some people might be drawn to certain modalities, it's for them. And some people might be like, oh, why don't you try this? It's very effective. And they try it, maybe it's not as effective. So it's basically the key here is do what resonates for you, even if it's a bit out of the ordinary, because I think those of you that are in this community are used to out of the ordinary.
Yeah, for sure.
So experiment. And I really like this, how it does activate energy structures, you know. So us as human beings are aligned to Gaia, are aligned to who we truly are, of course. So these different modalities are tools that assist us to align to who we truly are. So of course, like we said in the question, it's different for everybody, because if you have a lot of fear in a certain area, then you might have it felt in a specific area. Like with Reiki, you know, if you're having a certain issue, then you might feel that physically, you know, a stronger physical sensation in the area of the body and so forth. So everyone's different. So there's not one, I guess, answer, because everyone is unique in this. So it's basically exploring what resonates, and then you can trust that that's for you and it's activating what's needed to.
Yeah, and you could put yoga and massage in this category too.
Of course, there's so many modalities. It's about, you know, feeling good. When you do massage, even, you kind of, you know, you're blissed out, you connect. It's a form of meditation. Walking, connecting to nature, just looking at the ocean or looking at the trees, it's a form of meditation.
Sure,
there's
people
so
say
many
that all the
different
time.
types.
Yeah,
So many different types.
Good.
All right. You have many tools available to you in your reality. And the clue to find what is aligned to your unique frequency is to feel what resonates for you and engage with those ascension modalities. When you feel your way to what resonates, you are allowing your own being to show you its own key to move you further into the remembering of who you truly are. The keys to unlock more of who you are in your conscious awareness is already within. Allow your own being of light to show you the way. Sometimes you may feel to keeping with tools that you know. However, there are many paths for you to take on this journey inwards. Some ascension modalities are just being brought forth to the earth plane for the first time. Some are waiting to be remembered in the conscious awareness so they can be brought through. Perhaps you are one of those beings to bring a modality through your frequency. It is all a creative game that you are playing, activating the God creator that you are. Know whatever ascension modality you are guided to experience, it is activating the structures of your physical being to align to a higher dimensional version of yourself, releasing limiting programming that is no longer needed, releasing what no longer serves, and opening yourself up to embrace more of divine love that you are. It is a journey inwards until you can consciously remember that you are in fact source manifested. You may not remember fully who you truly are in this lifetime continuum. However, it's a journey of remembrance. These ascension tools which you have created in this expansion game you call life is a tool to remember that you are in a game, and a tool to lift the veil of illusion, a tool to remember that you are one. It is with such love and admiration that we come through, for we are you, we are one. Horus. Long paragraph.
And I just got thinking too, ayahuasca and other psychedelics and mushrooms and stuff like that, where people may say, well, especially with mushrooms or LSD or something, that no, that's wrong, or even pot, no, that's wrong. And those are just other tools too. And people really get the sense that that the physical is an illusion when they're doing psychedelics. So it's it's another way to activate all that inside.
But it's also about, with all these modalities, not to get too attached to them as either, because that's part of the illusion. Like if we attach to these modalities, like, oh, we have to have this, we need to have this for us to connect more to ourselves. They're just tools. And
right.
Like what Horus was saying here, it's a creative game. This is still part of the illusion, but we have this game here to play and have fun with these different modalities. Like we created these games.
Yeah.
So, you know, do what resonates with you, and, you know, not take things, I guess, so seriously. And there are many different like modalities. And what I really like about this is that Horus says that, you know, Jojo might be one to bring one of the
Right.
modalities through.
Yeah.
And I know when I first discovered Sacred Sound Alchemy, you know, I was a bit like, well, this is very new. This is a bit strange, you know, like I'm just vocalizing these weird tones out of my mouth, but this action that's this energy resonance that's being created, like I'm feeling so energetically high just by vocalizing my voice. There's something here. And then, you know, I could have easily gone, this is just a load of rubbish.
Right.
What's this silly whatever, because I'm so tuned to guidance now. And I got a little bit of backstory about where it came from. Isis was my teacher of that, but you know, so this is the same for everybody. They might have their own unique modality coming through, whether it's, you know, a vocal thing, or whether it's a, you know, a healing modality, or, you know, and they might judge themselves and be like, well, this is rubbish, or they try and compare it with other modalities, and because it doesn't fit the status quo, or there's nothing they can really compare it, they disregard it, or they don't think they're worthy enough of it. But at this time, as you know, it's time of great awakening. There are many of us bringing forth these new modalities. And no matter where it came from, its origin is coming through you uniquely. So it'll be different, you know. So embrace it, no matter how weird and strange it is. If it benefits you, then do it.
Yeah. One thing that we really have to get clear is whatever the tool is, it's not going to fix any problems.
That's right.
And you can't use it to control your reality. You can't use Law of Attraction to control your reality. You can't use any of these things to control your reality. They are just, all they're doing is connecting you with your inner self, or connecting you with source consciousness. That's all meditation is doing. It's not going to fix anything. And the funny thing about that is there's 10 Joshua meditations. One of them is abundance. And people listen to that 10 times more than all the other ones combined. You look on Spotify, it's like, whoa, all filled up 100%, you know, and all the other ones have 1 or 2 little dots compared to the 10 of that. So drop this need to control anything and just do it because it's pleasurable.
That's right.
And you will derive pleasure out of meditation after a little bit of practice, just like everything else. You'll derive pleasure out of Reiki and massage and yoga and whatever else that you want to do. Drum circles, singing bowls, all these things, right? Mm-hmm. Singing bowls, we do that when we have retreats, and our friend Greg comes in and gets his bowl out and sets the tone for the whole place. It's really cool. I bet you. Yeah, like that one, just like that one.
Yes, I have here as well. I do it in my meditations.
And even prayer would be in that category.
Oh yes, cool. There's so many different forms.
Yeah. All right, here's what Joshua has to say. Dear Jojo, you have an inner self. Your inner self is always guiding you, as are your millions of guidance supporters and source itself. You are either connected to the consciousness of love, or you are connected to the consciousness of fear. The more often you are connected to the love consciousness, the more you will receive love-based ideas, wonderful thoughts, and the inspiration to move forward into the life you intended to live. Connection to that powerful stream of consciousness based in love will provide you with all you will ever need. So this is like, just realize that all of this is about moving past the illusion that you're imperfect, that you're not source. Okay, if we're all aspects of source and source is perfect, then we're all perfect as we are in every moment. This myth of imperfection is the driving force behind the self-improvement industry. Mm-hmm. And it's just part of this control-dominated society where everyone thinks, oh no, you got to control every aspect of your life. And so everything that's out there, as far as self-help books or courses like that, are all designed to help you learn how to control better. Well, here's the secret. Control doesn't work in an attractive universe. You're always going to be focusing on the lack of control or the need to control or what's wrong. The only thing that will work is the absolute acceptance of what is. The boot camp is the only thing that I've ever seen that's created from the absolute acceptance of what is as a course. Course in Miracles might be too, but I don't know too much about that. So the whole idea is to figure out a way to connect to your inner self, to realize you're perfect, and not to control anything, to let go of that need to fix things. The problems, like everything else, are an illusion. Okay.
It can be hard as well because we're so conditioned to control, even, to make goals. Like that's a lot in the, motivation, self-improvement communities, like make your goals, but it's about control. What happens if you don't meet it? You fall down, like well, you go to
first of all,
if you didn't reach it, then you feel like I'm unworthy because I didn't meet my goal target.
Would you rather make goals from your limited human perspective or allow the universe to move you swiftly to everything you truly want? Who knows better how to do it? You, or with the limited perspective, or the universe with the ultimate broad perspective and power? Right. First thing I ever did was give up goals. No more goals. No, yeah. I do intentions, but they're not goals. My intentions are very general, And my number one intention is to connect to my inner self. Sometimes you are more connected to the consciousness of fear. Anytime you feel doubt, anger, frustration, boredom, or any other bad feeling emotion, you can know for sure that you are not in alignment with source consciousness. You are simply choosing a perspective that your inner self would never choose. Why do you do this? Because something has triggered a limiting belief. You are receiving guidance in the form of negative emotion, and this is being offered to you from your inner self. But you often ignore these messages. Your connection to your inner self is not strong enough to alter your perspective and to discover and analyze your limiting beliefs. A lot of times it's the limiting belief that drives you to, well, almost all of the time it is. We're doing a boot camp number 6 right now, and one of the things that everyone does is put in their life story, and there's always something that happened to jumpstart people's quest for more information, and that's how they find, Law of Attraction and Joshua and all these things. So it's this thing that, this disconnection to source consciousness that's making you do things to control things. You realize at some point in your life it doesn't work. Most of us don't realize that until we're like 40 or 50. You're lucky that you're so young and vibrant and found out all this stuff early. And then we choose another path, or at least allow ourselves to be moved to inspiration to find all this stuff.
Yeah, it's one step at a time, Usually, if you're right, it takes something within our life to be like, I've had enough of this way of living. And a lot of people turn to Law of Attraction because, like, I've had it with my life, or I'm not feeling happy, I'm not feeling fulfilled. So I'm going to do what The Secret said. I'm going to visualize my perfect job. And blah, blah. So they get, a lot of the people get into this kind of communities through like Law of Attraction because, but again, through a form of control. But then, of course, those who, continue the inward journey realize that it's there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
And it's actually, you need to let go of control. And it's, easier said than done, but it's, an onward journey, and it's an inward journey, and it's never ending.
Well, it's the reason I got into The Secret was because I wanted to get my money back that I lost in the meltdown. And so I was like using Law of Attraction to control my reality instead of create it, right? And so many people go to Law of Attraction in order to change things they don't like, and they get stuck because you can only think enough positive thoughts for a while. And and actually I did radically improve my life, but it was still, all I did was relax a bit is what I did. And things remarkably turned around just from relaxing and not trying to prove my worthiness or any of that stuff. So I was still trying to control things, but softer than before. Before, I used to control things with the iron hammer or glove or whatever, fist. All right. If you perceived that you had no control over how you feel and that the conditions, people, and events had all of the control over how you feel, you would be exploring physical reality from the perspective of a victim. This is not bad or wrong, but it's not pleasurable, and it's not what you intended. You intended to maintain a strong connection with your inner self. You intended to feel good. You intended to receive guidance. You intended to live in a state of acceptance. You intended to live as a blended being, guided in every moment by your inner self. If you are not aware of the thoughts you are thinking, your limiting beliefs, or the guidance that is being offered, you do not have a strong connection with your inner self. You are the one who is floating through life without allowing the support and guidance to flow into your awareness from your inner self. And this is duality. People believe things are either right or wrong. And if something's wrong, they want to stamp it out. They're sure of it. They're going to argue that it's wrong. And that's one of their limitations, right? Mm-hmm. And in order to really be effective in this life, to go on this inner journey of self-discovery of who you truly are, it's all about connecting with the perspective of your inner self. And when you feel positive emotion, that's how you know you're connected to that inner self's perspective, that everything's right. And when you feel negative emotion, that's when you know you've adopted a limited perspective, perceiving that something's wrong. And that's the illusion. And your inner self is giving you that guidance. But if you don't realize it or feel it or understand what that is, then you're just going with the old programming and living in duality and trying to control everything.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's challenging. I mean, it's a journey for all of us, and it's easy to be like, well, I'm not feeling good, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and control my emotions by doing a modality, you know. But are we engaging in it because you want to fix the fear, or are we doing it because we feel good to do it? So there's two different distinctions here. Yeah. So you can easily use these tools for control, you know.
Well, all of the tools we have, a hammer, a drill, you know, are all designed to control or make things to control easier, you know. Mm-hmm. And so it's just our human way of being that control not only seems like it's the right thing to do, it's like the only thing to do. You know, and when you tell people that if you perceive that the outside conditions make you feel something rather than realizing you're just choosing the perspective, so you're creating the feeling yourself, mm-hmm. And then you say that you're a victim because you perceive that, well, the word victim too carries a different meaning. In this sense, the victim means that you're not the creator of your reality, that you're the victim to fate. Not that anything bad is happening to you, but just that's how you're approaching life, from that victim mentality that other people and other conditions cause you to feel things instead of you choosing. Joshua's been talking a lot about this lately, and it's very difficult for people to understand this. When Joshua says, you can look at your, you know, Joshua will say, what's the most joyous time you've ever had in your entire life? And people say, when my baby was born, and the love that I felt looking at that baby. And Joshua says the baby had nothing to do with it. You were looking at that baby from the perspective that your inner self was looking at it, and you were just agreeing with your inner self and feeling the natural connection to source energy that would always be there if you thought about everything the same way you thought about that baby, right? It's coming from within. It's not coming from the baby. It's not coming from someone who says, I love you. It's you seeing this as a good thing. You know, the sunset doesn't make you feel anything. It's you perceiving the sunset as beautiful, and your inner self is agreeing with you.
And it's also a connection that takes place that assists you in connecting to who you truly are. So like for newborn babies, because they're fresh from the other side. So because of that, they're so highly aligned, and there's a part of us that obviously connects to that, and that reminds us of who we really are, reminds us of, who we are in the non-physical. So that kind of energy exchange also assists us having that feel good, and of course a lot of chemicals, and all, you can go on about all the body chemistry, but children that are being born are very, very high vibration, and it's just this love that they vibrate resonates with you and activates that love within you. So you can do that with anything. When you connect to nature, that nature is part of you, you're part of Gaia, so you can have that same, you might perceive it as differently because it's not your tree, you didn't birth the tree, but that capacity to feel love can be with anybody and anything, So it's all a perspective thing.
It's so true because, you know, people feel something when they look at the ocean because there's so much energy coming off that ocean. And people feel something when they look at mountains. There's energy coming off those mountains. Or looking in this night sky in the universe, you know, in the stars. There's all this energy that's there because, and we appreciate these things because we are the creator of those things.
And it's a form of meditation because when you connect to nature, it's basically an extension of us, you know, as above, so below. Gaia is us, we are Gaia. So, you know, when you connect to nature, you are connecting to yourself, and that's why we have this connection. And of course, of this bountiful of, you know, nature spirits in terms of, you know, duality, but by you connecting, it really assists to raise your vibration. Like when I went to Iwazu Falls, I was telling you about.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful, the nature. I literally cried. Like I had tears of joy. It was so beautiful. It touched me so tremendously that I teared up. And it's because of I allowed the nature to connect to who I truly am, you know. This was like connecting to source in an external way. Source manifested in this beautiful piece of nature here, and I connected to that. So you can, once you can change your perspective that everything around you that has life force energy is you, is source. We, in a state of duality, we see separation. We see you and me as separate. We see me and the tree, me and the ocean is separate, but it's actually different forms of us. So once we can start to perceive, I mean, it's challenging because we're in the duality consciousness, but of course, just lately, we have moved into oneness dimensions, but it's, you know, been long conditioned within us that we're separate. So, you know, one step at a time, but connecting.
Well, you know, and it's like the way that you feel about looking at nature, because your vibration is so high and you realize who you are and you have a strong connection with your inner self, that you were on that wavelength. But there's a scene in Vacation where Chevy Chase is sort of like trying to get everyone going, and they finally, what's the movie Vacation?
The Christmas Vacation?
No, the original Vacation.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, where they get to the Grand Canyon, and it's like, okay, all right, let's go.
Oh yeah.
Because he was elsewhere. He was not present. You know.
Oh, well, it's the same with when I was in Iwazu Falls. Everyone, of course, with all their phones, you know, which is something so beautiful. You want to be on your phone. Technology also distracts us from connecting. So yes, I took photos, but there was a period of time like, that's enough photos. Phone away. Let me just connect with the energy, and that's when I felt more of the emotion. So you know, that helps as well when we connect with nature.
True.
Put the phones down.
Your inner self is always with you in every moment. That inner you has always been aware of you and of every thought you have ever experienced in your past and present, and will always be there in your future. You cannot disconnect from your inner self fully, but you can always strengthen that connection. It's up to you. So how does one strengthen that connection with their inner self? There are many ways to do that. You could read books, listen to podcasts, and watch videos to become consciously aware of your inner self. You could meditate and become more and more aware of your thoughts. You could strive to feel good through exercise and diet. You could engage in yoga. You could participate in a boot camp. You could experience Reiki, massage, or hypnotism. You could consult with a light worker, and you could enjoy an EFT session. There are many ways to strengthen that connection to your inner self. And that's funny because I had written this, 3 days ago. Wow. It feels like I've written like a month ago. And I totally forgot that whole paragraph when I was talking about all the different things you could do. It's all right there. Yeah. Joshua didn't say you could do drugs for some reason. I don't know.
Well, if it feels good to you, I guess.
Yeah. You could do psychedelics. When you feel good, you are connected. When you receive inspiration, you are connected. When you feel bad, you are blocking that connection to some degree. When you are thinking something or someone is wrong, you are choosing to remove your awareness from the guidance that is being offered and instead connect to the stream of consciousness of fear. So then, in fear, you are disconnected. In love, acceptance, joy, interest, curiosity, exhilaration, excitement, etc., you are fully aligned with your inner self. You could do all sorts of things to maintain and strengthen that connection by simply doing whatever feels good. So, how about that? That opens up modalities of anything that feels good. I imagine surfing is one of these things.
Of course. They actually have this, in Australia, there's a program for men that's gone through, I think it's depression or trauma. And it's actually like a therapy thing. So they, as a bunch of guys, they go out to the water and surf, and it's a form of mindfulness. So we have this already in Australia.
Yeah.
Meditation.
Well, this just shows you that anything that makes you feel good or that allows, or you feel good doing, the feeling good is that thing that connects you to inner self. And all these are just tools to help you feel better or help you feel good.
And usually most of these modalities, it allows you to quiet the mind. So it has the feeling good, of course, but also it has that aspect where it allows you to kind of quiet the mind or be mindful. And that's another key here, that it helps to move through all the chatter in the mind.
Right. Very cool. Well, anyway, that just shows you that anyone can come up with a modality. If people feel good doing it, then that's the thing to do. When you feel good, you are connected. Did I say that one right? Yeah. Okay. If you feel disconnected, you are out of alignment, and you will see your temporary disconnection as a permanent problem. In seeing that you're having a problem with your connection, you maintain the vibration of disconnection, and you increase the momentum of feeling bad. The connection to your inner self will not solve any problems. It will simply feel good. So then, the best possible way to maintain your connection to your inner self, your guidance supporters, and the source itself is to feel good. Whatever allows you to feel good will be the best way to maintain and expand your level of alignment. The choice is yours. So it's all good.
It is all good. And just to note on that as well, that, when people have gone through like a lot of trauma and dissociated, it can be very hard to feel good naturally. And this is, when I guess tools can really come to effect here. But again, doing it because you feel inspired to do it, guided to do it, not because I need this to fix. Like for me, for instance, when I went through my trauma, I was completely dissociated, like numbed out. And luckily I had Reiki, so that was my form of, and I felt guided to do that. So I followed the guidance. Everyone was doing to fix it. I used that, and that allowed me to connect to who I am and discover more of who I am than even before the trauma. So that's why the trauma was a blessing for me, because, I did the Reiki on myself. It allowed me to connect to who I really am. And that's when I discovered, Law of Attraction. I'm like, went through the whole stages, Louise L. Hay, you can heal your life and all that kind of stuff. And that started me on that journey going inwards. So, everyone's journey is different, and there are so many modalities out there, but just know and ask yourself, are you doing this out of fear or doing this out of love?
Right.
Because you're always supported, but there are tools out there in this creative game, because we're God creators. So there are little clues out there, little tools to assist us. So you find what resonates with you and just do it out of joy, and it'll assist you to expand.
Yeah, and it's got to be in your belief system too. Like people love drum circles, and I hate drum circles. I'm not doing a drum circle. But people love drum circles and stuff like that, so it's got to align with your belief system so not to say it's going to fix anything, just to say you're comfortable doing it. It's fun to do. You have friends doing it. You could see the benefits. Tapping is a little strange, but we have so many fun friends who are doing tapping that it's fun just to do it with them,
Yeah.
All right. So let's come up with new modalities.
Yeah. It's all within us. And, from what the beings of the light said, is that if you are meant to bring forth new modalities, part of your soul contracts, then it'll come out when it'll be remembered, when you are vibrationally ready.
Yeah.
And usually what you'll find is these modalities are from your other, experiences of life. So it could be from another life, it could be from another life on another world, which is often the case. And but it's being brought forth through you uniquely because of your vibration. Like for me, for the sound alchemy, when I got into it more, I was guided, and Goddess Isis said that she was my teacher of it in Egypt, but she was also my teacher of it in the Palladium system. I'm like, right, but she was not known as Isis then. So I'm like, right, so it's a out of this world ability. I'm like, that's nice. So I mean, there's different forms of it in different ancient cultures here, but the fact that it's coming out me now, and this time continuum, not me back in ancient Egypt or another world, is that it's coming through in a different way for this time continuum. So you contrast, you don't have to compare, you don't have to research. I know we have been conditioned that, okay, I'm discovering this new modality, so I need to research on it, see if there's something that compares to it or that kind of thing, and just let that go. Like, if you feel guided, if it comes out of you, and you can tell there's a difference in your energy and makes you feel good, then most probably it's going to help other people too. Maybe not everyone will resonate with it, but it's about pushing past your fear, and if you're guided to do so, then put it out there.
How does sound alchemy work? What do you do?
Right. So basically what it is that I vocalize these sound vibrations, kind of like chanting.
Yeah.
But they're more vibrations, and then sometimes I can feel like my mouth vibrating in the energy, and it comes with like visualizations, and basically helps to, what I've been told is that they're tones of creation, tones of the gods, I've referred to this as. And it's basically helps raise your frequency, activates dormant DNA, and helps bring more light into the cell. So it's basically meditation on steroids, is like I like to refer to it. So it really directly connects you to who you are. So when I do it, like, I literally get so high, like high as a kite, like on this energy. And it's literally just me channeling these healing Ascension, that like kind of codes, energy codes. And it assists me in different ways. And I've put these meditations, and I've done this like with personal sessions as well. And a lot of people have come back and said how it's helped them, and they also feel these energies. So, it sounds a bit strange because it's like I'm just channeling this energy through this vocal toning. But, I got nothing to really compare it to, although you hear of, chanting and different kind of things like that. But it's a little bit different, and everyone has, if they're meant to explore it, then it'll happen naturally. Like, I was literally doing meditation, so I do like a Reiki meditation on myself, and literally I was guided to vocalize, to sing. I'm like, all right, so I did it, and I'm like, this is unusual. Usual sounds coming out of my mouth, and then I was informed of what exactly it is. So I've pushed past the fear and putting that out there. So, there's all these new modalities, and they're not really new. They're
so
just
do you have one on YouTube that people can go and see?
Yes. I just recently did one, and it's up on YouTube. You'll find it. It's Beings of Light with Kimberley. Just Google that. Live channeling is the YouTube, but go on the website and you'll find the information there. That one is I channeled Isis and the Hathors. And the Hathors, I've just been informed that I was also an aspect of, that I'm an aspect of, and they're really into sound frequency. So I channeled different beings in that one. So it's interesting. And I basically, the meditations, I've changed them up a little bit, and I've got some Tibetan bells as with the sound alchemy as well overlaid. So, have a little listen. And it kind of works, binaural beats. Have you heard of binaural
That's another
beats?
one of these things. I was just thinking of that.
Yeah. So what I find with the vocal sounds coming out of me, it kind of works like that. So that kind of high you get sometimes when you listen to binaural beats, you get that from listening to mine. And it's the same thing. So it's more effective if you use headphones, even though I don't use any technology to affect the frequencies like binaural beats do. It's just a natural thing. And for some reason, for me, of course, when I do it live, it's more powerful. But when I record them and listen back to them, and when I listen back through headphones, it's more powerful because it's a very nuanced vibration that's coming out of me. And that's like, so it's very powerful. So, continuing on this exploration with it, I've only discovered it, beginning of this year, I think. I remember.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm exploring that. It's very exciting.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is cool.
but looks like JoJo might have a modality of her own.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right, so tell everyone where they can connect with you again.
All right, so you can jump on my website at beingsofthelight.com, and there you'll find links to my YouTube channel, Podbean. We've got Apple Podcasts as well. We've got Patreon. I've got different things going on there, different programs you can go into there. Also, Facebook page, Beings of the Light with Kimberley Community, if you want to join the Facebook group. And then, all the links you will find on the website.
Excellent. And if you want to connect more with the Joshua community, please join the Friends of Joshua Facebook group. You can go to the website and sign up for the newsletter, which we put out once in a while, letting you know what's going on. There are other podcasts is where I'm channeling Joshua in front of a group of people, and that's called Joshua Live. So check that one out too. Okay, Kimberley, this was great seeing you again. Had so much fun. And you have a wonderful day down under. You're just starting your day. I'm just ending mine.
Yes.
What time is it there now? It's 6 p.m.
Well,
here.
I just realized actually there is now a time difference change with you guys. So it is now 10 a.m.
10? Wow, that's not bad. Oh, good. You got to sleep in today. Awesome. Cool.
Get sleeping in an hour.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.